Hello, my perfume lovers, addicts, fanáticas de perfume como yo. Now, this is a special video. Well, I was talking to a friend and I was talking about how scents relate to memories, you know, scent memories. So it can be, it doesn't have to be necessarily a memory. It could be a person, a place, a thing, that will remind you of that. So person, place, or thing. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, that type of thing. So I have all the ones that I could think of, all the perfumes that I could think of that are attached to a memory or remind me of something or someone or somewhere. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with the first one that I have here, which is, this is Scarlet Letter by Juliana's Perfume, but this is the imitation for Alien Essence Absolute, one of my top 5 favorite fragrances. To me, it is a masterpiece. I love it. It is that deep, beautiful vanilla with the jasmine and the incense and the myrrh, and it has a minty feel. I think it's just, this is from the original. What I have left is really expensive. It's discontinued, but I found this to keep me happy. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I know I am, but this one, when I wear it, when I spray it, it reminds me of when we had just moved in to our house and we didn't have any furniture. We were just starting over. We didn't have, the furniture was all messed up due to the animals and everything. So we were on a mattress in the living room watching Wonder Woman, the movie, when it came out, the first one. So that it brought me back to us, just the family, my kids and my husband, sitting and watching Wonder Woman, and I was wearing this. So it just has such a beautiful memory connected with this. So that is that one. Now the next one that I have is Mancera Holidays. This is a beautiful coconut summer vibe. Oh, it's so beautiful. So I remember this one, I had ordered a sample, and I got the sample and I was like testing it out, the sample, and I was with my niece. She had come over and we were just, you know, having a good time, a family time, and we had bought a ping pong table. And I just remember smelling this, and we tried, well, not we tried. I tried to close the ping pong table because we were done playing and everything, and I broke it. I broke the table, and it was a Father's Day gift, and it was like horrible. I just felt so bad. It was like, the day just got really bad when that happened, but then it got better. But yeah, I remember, I associated with smelling this, and also my niece loved it so much that she bought it for herself. And now I think of her because every time I would see her, she would be wearing this. So that is connected to that. Okay. The next one that I have is Gucci Rush. Gucci Rush, and this one is a horrible bottle. It's like a tape, an old cassette tape thingy. That's what it looks like. This smells really good, and this reminds me of when I was in youth group in church. So I was probably like 13 or 14, something like that. And I remember I was in the group, and somebody smelled really good, and I asked her, what are you wearing? And she was like, Gucci Rush. And I was like, and then, you know, eventually I went and I had to get it, you know, and it's so good, and it's still good. This is an old school one, but it's still good. So it's connected to that moment of innocence. Okay. The next one that I have here is Olympia Solar. Olympia Solar by Paco Rabanne. What a beautiful bottle, right? This one is connected to something more recent. Well, not that recent, but I went in the last summer, I went to Puerto Rico, and I bought this in one of the malls in Puerto Rico. And I've always wanted it, but I never had smelled it. And it was hard to get before. It wasn't getting to the United States, but I wore it over there, and it just reminds me of that beautiful trip with my family, just seeing the beautiful island where I was born. So that's that. That's good memories. Okay. The next one that I have here is Jovoy, Remember Me by Jovoy Paris. Okay, this is such a beautiful lactonic tea, vanilla, and it's so good. And it has a little bit of that lemon in the background, in the opening. This one I wore to my grandfather's funeral that happened as September, this September that passed. So I wore this because it said remember me, and I'm dumb like that. I take things like, I don't know. I just thought it would be perfect. It's not too loud. It won't bother anyone. And it's such a beautiful, comforting scent. So this one now I associate with my grandfather, with that. Okay. The next one, let's brighten the mood a little bit. This one is Ser Achila by Swiss Arabian. This is a deep, sexy rose, spicy rose. Not sure if there's oud, but this is a strong, projecting, sexy fragrance. And this one reminds me of when I wore it to work one day, and my employee said that her nose was burning because of this fragrance is so strong. And I just thought it was so funny. And I was also happy because if it can project that hard that your nose is burning, I did my job. Just kidding. But that's what I remember. It makes me laugh when I remember this, that occasion. Okay. The next one that I have is Black Vanilla by Mancera. So this one reminds me of when I had just come out of surgery, to not have any more children. I got my tubes removed, and this one I had just received it. I hadn't worn it or anything, and I put it on, and it reminds me of that when I was just, you know, sitting in bed. And I remember me and my husband were watching Game of Thrones. So like, it reminds me of like getting out of surgery and watching Game of Thrones, which we finished it in that moment. We were finishing the series. And so this reminds me of that. Good times, you know. That's that. That is that. And the next one that I have is Oriana by Parfums de Marly. This one is such a girly, fun, powdery, flirty fragrance. Very feminine. But I remember the first time that I wore it is when my son was doing track in high school, and we went to one of his meets, and I was wearing this, and the wind just kept hitting, and I kept getting whiffs of this, and it just made me feel like, just a happy moment, just being there for my son and watching him do something, doing his track and everything, and wearing this. So that reminds me of that. The next one that I have is Olympia, the original. Olympia, the original, by Paco Rabanne. This one reminds me of when my family, we went to a cruise for the Bahamas. It was our first cruise, only one for now, until like we have to do that again for sure. And I went in the store in Nassau, in Atlantis. I forget all the names, but they had a perfume store in there, and I smelled this and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it, and I had smelled this before, like years ago before that. It was just a different experience, and it's so good. It's so good, and it reminds me of that, of just being like a beach goddess in the Bahamas, okay? That's that. The next one that I have here is Delina Exclusive by Parfums de Marly, a beautiful, creamy rose fragrance. This one, it reminds me of when we were moving to come to this house, which I had taken out 5 fragrances because I had packed up all my fragrances, bubble wrapped them and everything, and I had left only 5 that I could wear while we were in the whole moving process and packing and all of that, paperwork. And this was one that I left out, so I was wearing it a lot. So it reminds me of that moment when we were going to move to our house. Finally, we were going to get our house. And it's such a beautiful fragrance, but it definitely reminds me of that. And it was like the winter time, so it was very comforting and beautiful the way it performs in the cold. That's that one. Now, this one is J'adore Absolu by Dior. So I like this one much better than the original. The original J'adore is very pretty too, but this one is just, I like it better. And this one Now this one, I don't know what to think of the memory I have with this one, because I had an employee that was a really tough person to deal with. And she had her moods, you know, and it was just tough to deal with. But on her good days, you know, it was okay. I wore this, and every time I wore this, she would always compliment me. Oh, you smell good. You smell good. So I, you know, unfortunately remember her when I see this fragrance. And that's probably what kept me from wearing this more, because I've had this for years. I would have already finished this probably, but I need to get past that. I really do. It's just, you know, emotional damage. Okay. The next one, and I'm almost done. Thank you so much if you're still watching. Thank you for being here. Is Vanilla Fields by Coty. This is an old school fragrance. This has been around for a very long time. I'll put the year up when this came out. This is just a beautiful vanilla, and it's still a beautiful vanilla, but it's very nostalgic. It's very nostalgic. When I smell this, I remember that I had this, I got it in a gift exchange when I was like 11 or 12. So that this was like my first fragrance, either this or Sweet Honesty by Avon, but I do like this one better. It's just vanilla. I'm a vanilla lover like forever, okay? And this one is nostalgic, okay? That brings me back to that. And then the last one is Samba. I don't even know the brand of this. I think it's just Samba. But Samba, this just reminds me of my teenage years. It just reminds me of my teenage years, high school, and all of that time. It's just, and I feel like it's timeless. You could still wear this, and it's so affordable, so cheap. It's like, you can get it for like $10, and it lasts really long. And yeah, so it's not vintage or anything. It's just, that just reminds me of my teenage years. I feel like they were yesterday, you know? Anyways, thank you everyone for watching. I hope that you can kind of understand what I'm saying, and, you know that a certain smell can remind you of a place, a person, a memory, a thing, something. I just thought, you know, might as well do a video about it. So thank you everyone for watching. Until next time, bye.